Run fast for your mother, fast for your father, run for your sisters and run to your brother. Welcome to the Grammys. I'm Drew Scheid. It's another episode of the Stepover podcast, and I am feeling great. Basketball is good. There has been some really cool games over the last 3 days, and I kept, on Sunday I was like, I gotta make a podcast. These games were so good. And then Monday happened, and then I was like, oh my gosh, this game was so good. I gotta do one tonight. And then yesterday I was like, I'll do one before the games. And then I watched those games, and I was like, those are great. It's weird, not that every game was great, but there's definitely like 2 games every night for the last 3 nights that have been good. And I'm just gonna talk about them. Let's jump right in. This will be another quick one. I think I said that last time, and it was 30 minutes long, but let's do another quick one. All right, so last night, the Lakers are still in a bad spot, which is a bummer. Because as a fan of LeBron James, you just want to see him succeed. And, I think when you're a fan of anyone, it's hard to see them regress a little. No matter if it's music or acting or whatever, it's hard to see someone who's been so dominant for so long regress a little bit. But I think everyone on earth needs to widen the context and be like, this is a 30,000-year-old man. Not that he's 36 years old. As Mark Phillips would say, he's 36. He can't keep doing this. I'm tired after walking around the block, and I exercise a decent amount. I don't eat well, but I still exercise. And so it's so impressive that LeBron is doing anything at this high level. More than anyone. I mean, sure, I don't know what Kareem was doing or what, I know Wilt played till the end and Bill Russell played till they couldn't stop playing, till they had to stop. But I don't know how they were, but I'm pretty sure LeBron is doing the best at this. As Ruben Rabassa would say from I Think You Should Leave. He's doing the best at this. He's carrying this team, and people are like, he's not carrying the team as well as he did in Cleveland. Well, he's 5 years older, and he has not a worse supporting cast, but definitely not the best one. Man. Let's play a little game. Who would have been, and this is a dumb game I'm about to dumb thought experiment I'm about to roll out, but because Anthony Davis, they traded for him, they won a championship, they did it. That's another thing. I think Laker fans are overreacting a little too much at what LeBron has done to the Lakers, because yeah, sure, all the picks are gone, there's not any assets, they traded everything away for Anthony Davis and other people, and then also traded everything for Russell Westbrook, but that's a whole other thing. But, they traded everything for Anthony Davis, and it worked. It worked. There are so many fan bases out there who would love it if that happened. If Memphis traded Desmond Bane and every single one of their picks for a top 10 player in the league, and they only won that year, and then maybe they didn't win for the next 5 or 10 years, I think the city of Memphis would see that as a win, because they did. They won. Winning, just one, is really important and really huge. And I'm the opposite of those people who think the bubble was rigged or was not as hard. That is a preposterous thing to say, that the bubble wasn't hard. The bubble would have been the most stressful experience in the world. Could you imagine going to your job and then living at your job, and you see the people that you hate from your job everywhere you go at a Disney resort? And people online are screaming at you because there's literally nothing else to look at. You're the only thing people are looking at. You're the only source of people's joy and anger for months on end. And the more you win, the longer you have to stay. It was honestly like that South Park episode where they try to lose baseball games because they realize like, oh shoot, if we go to the playoffs, we're gonna have to we're gonna have to play all summer. Our summer's ruined if we win. And like, I think that's what Paul George was experiencing. Like, I can't be in here for another 4 weeks. We gotta blow this 3-1 lead. Like, it was just. I just heard him the other day on, I forget which podcast, but I think it was All the Smoke. But he was like, I couldn't sleep for weeks on end, and he tried everything. He tried CBD, he tried therapy, he tried meditation, and he's just like, I couldn't sleep. And oh my gosh, like, just your heart goes out for those people who had to do that. Obviously, yeah, sure. Two things can be true. You can be a millionaire, and you can be in a privileged situation where, sure, you're at a hotel and, food is free and all. Obviously, you're being paid millions of dollars, but you're in a really stressful situation in a time where one of the more stressful things in this country was happening, and you're being targeted online. I mean, Danny Green had to leave L.A. He got death threats. Danny Green got death threats for playing winning basketball. Yeah, he had a terrible percentage in the finals and some of the playoff games. They won that series, 4-2? 4-1? I found it preposterous every single I'm so good about reusing words on this podcast. I feel like there's been 4 episodes where I stick to a word, and the word of this week is preposterous. Why am I talking about the bubble so much? Who cares at this point? But regardless, just Laker fans, calm down. You won. You have LeBron James on your team. I think it's good for basketball when the Lakers are good, and I think it's good when I just want the Lakers to be in a play-in spot, which is nuts to say, but like they need to be there. That's the goal. They got to be a play-in team. They got to be there for those playoffs, or that's something. And just as a fan of LeBron, as just a fan in general, it just would be really, really nice if the Lakers could at least do that. And I don't know how, like, after, like, I watched that game against Dallas last night, and LeBron's doing everything he can. He's doing everything he can. I love Russ, but I don't understand what he's doing a lot this year. Not that I've watched the most Laker games this year, but I love Russ so much. I was a big fan of him at Oklahoma City, obviously, and I watched him last year when he was on the Wizards a lot. When he broke the Oscar Robertson record, was like that was a really fun year, and it just kind of showed everyone like, wow, this guy's really good at what he does, and triple doubles lead to winning basketball. That's proven. That's a stat. It's like if you get a triple double, there's like a more than 75% chance that you'll win this game. And that's pretty huge. And I love Russ. I thought Russ was a really great fit on the Rockets. That was a really great series. They lost to the Lakers, but they lost to the Lakers. Like they did. I thought Russ and Harden fit kind of nice. I don't know. That was such a weird year, but I thought they were really good. And I guess that's all I want to talk about the Lakers. I don't have too much else to say. I guess I could look at the stats of the game. Box score. I clicked on the Golden State Warriors. I'll jump to them. The Golden State Warriors lost again, and obviously it's fine because they're still the second team in the West, and they're fine. But they're like, I don't know. I think it's just showing that Steph Curry, like, he needs Draymond and Clay. He needs those guys. They're a huge part of what Steph Curry does, and he can't achieve that without them. And I love the Timberwolves are looking good. I really like the Timberwolves. I thought this year is the best they've looked. I talked about them a lot on the show, and I think they're so good. I think they have a really cool squad right now. I'm looking at them. Vanderbilt's getting better. D'Lo's coming into his own. He's having one of the best seasons he's ever had. I know a lot of my friends hate D'Lo, but I think he's cool. He's a cool guy. Pat Bev, I love. He's a polarizing figure, but I think he's really cool. Naz Reid is on my fantasy team. I think he's a cool guy. And they were doing great even without Edwards. Obviously, Karl Anthony Towns has more to do, I think, without Edwards on the court out there, but they're a good team. They're a really good team that hasn't really figured it out yet, but there are nights like last night where they'll figure it out and they're great. Like, yeah, Cat put up 39. I love that guy. He's so good. And I find it so offensive. I think Timberwolves fans should find it pretty offensive that everyone online, like that First Take interview, which obviously, like, you know, I appreciate Kendrick Perkins being like, being Joel and Harden are basically Kareem and Magic. I appreciated that sentiment to be said on national TV. I don't think that is correct right now. I'm even like, well, maybe, I don't, you know, we don't know. We've only seen 2 games. But I found it pretty offensive if I was a Minnesota Timberwolves fan that Stephen A. and 2 of the other pundits were like, I don't watch that show a lot. I don't know everyone's name on there. But I have been obsessively watching anything mentioning Harden and Joel over the last couple days. But I found it so weird that they were laughing at, ha ha ha, they beat the Timberwolves. So what? So what? It's a good, deep team. It has a lot of shooting and great defense and some bigs. And they beat them by like a lot. Like, that was a really good win. And for them to be like, ha, okay, Kendrick, they beat the Timberwolves, you know, calm down. And it's like, I don't know. I thought that was, you know, obviously there are so many tougher teams than them, but I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but I found that interesting. I think the Timberwolves were good. I'm already spending too much time than I thought. Let me breeze past some of the rest of the games. Let me go back to the box scores. The Clippers are on a great toll. People who kind of know I like the Clippers are my West Coast team. They've been my West Coast team since Lob City, baby. I always think they've been a really fun team, and you know the stepchild of LA, but have really come into their own. They're great, and they've been killing it without their 3 best players. Rocco, Robert Covington, Sixers legend, looks fantastic with this team. He hasn't looked this good since Houston. Like, he looks great. Like, he was not doing this on Portland. I think he's like he's in a good. I think because like Portland was running him at the 4, and I guess he's a 3 now. I guess he's like a 3-4. I'm guessing, you know, it's, you know, they switch up all the time, but it seems like he's running more of a 3, and he feels more comfortable because he can get more speed. And he said in an interview, he was like, I can do literally whatever you want. Like, I'm a guard. He's basically 2 through 4. He can do that. You know, he can't ball handle. He can't maybe be a center. He can be a small ball center in a pinch, but that man can really do it. I love Rocco. I think he's great. So proud of the Clippers. Brooklyn. I'll talk about Brooklyn in a second because I have a little story. I'll skip to Atlanta lost to Boston, which I don't like either of those teams. Love the city of Atlanta, hate the team. You can love the city, hate the team. And I love Atlanta. I hate the Hawks. I'm glad they lost, but also for standing reasons, I kind of wish they won, so then Boston would go back down in the. I want Boston to just, you know, go. I don't want them near us in the playoffs. I really don't. They're the team that I'm like. They're probably the best team in the East outside of the Sixers and the Heat. I think so. Oh, and the Bucks. But I would rather face the Heat and the Bucks in the playoffs than the Celtics. Weirdly, because just Jalen and Jason, man, they're the best. They're so cool. I love those guys, and I hate the Celtics so much. They're terrible. I hate them. I really do. But you can't ignore that those 2 guys are amazing. And I hate Horford, but he is an Embiid stopper. He can do it. I don't know how. He's got some weird, just like Jedi mind trick where he just, not even that he can defend him so well, but his look just kind of throws Joel off, where he's just like, what? Who is this guy? I don't like him, but they won. Washington pulled out. I watched that Detroit. I've been watching more Detroit games because I like Cade Cunningham, and I'm glad Marvin Bagley has a new home. I actually don't think Marvin Bagley played yesterday, now that I'm thinking about it, because he went out the other game. He did not play. I don't see him on the thing. He's not on there. Where is he? I'm looking at it, and it doesn't say he played on the spreadsheet, on the box score. So, dang. I guess he's out. Yeah, he went out with like a sore knee on against the Celtics the other day. I watched that game because they were close, and then I just kept watching Detroit because they just keep getting close and they lose. But they beat the Hornets the other day with that Kelly Olynyk last one. Dang, Bagley's out. That's a shame, but that was a fun game to watch. And then I'll move into that was all last night's games. So let's go to Tuesday. That was the end of Wednesday. Now we're going into, that was the end of Tuesday. Today's Wednesday. Jeez Louise. Monday's games. Monday, I didn't watch as many of these games because I saw Spider-Man for the first time. Here's my quick review. Pretty good. I love those dang Spider-Men. I think they're neat. They're nice. And that was a fun time. And after the game, I live in Brooklyn. I was at the Alamo Draft House. I walked out. I was feeling pretty good. Saw a great movie. Had some really great popcorn. Oh my gosh, they have the Alamo Draft House. They serve food, and they have a special Batman menu for the new Matt Reeves, Robert Pattinson Batman. And they had this popcorn that was like it was popcorn with cinnamon sugar on it. So it was like a cinnamon popcorn, and then just cut up pieces of churro throughout, which may sound weird, but was delicious. It was like the best thing to have during that movie. And then I had 2 beers. It was a great time seeing Spider-Man. Long movie, but great time. And then afterwards, I was feeling great. I was feeling full. I had 2 beers. And I was like, oh, hey, I live in Brooklyn. And I walked down the street. I walked to the Barclays Center because it was the 4th quarter of the Raptors. The Raptors were in town, and I was like, I want to see the Raptors. I love the Raptors, and I hate Brooklyn. I'll boo them. But I got there late, and the box office was closed. And I tried. I was like, can I come in? And then they were like, no. And then a lot of people were walking out because they were down by 20. And I wanted to watch like the last 15 minutes. I wanted to see, some garbage time for the Raptors and little Scotty Barnes. I love him. And a nice couple was very nice. They sent me. I asked them weird. I was on the street kind of buzzed. And I was like, can you send me your ticket if you're leaving? And they were like, sure. Here's what's your number? And they sent it to me, and I tried getting in, and then I remembered. As it was scanning, I was like, oh, this won't work because they scanned it already. And they were like, this isn't working. And I was like, yep, sorry, someone gave it to me outside. And I walked out, and it was a fine interaction. I just felt, obviously, I just felt like a sus guy, like on the street in my sweater. Hey, what's going on in here? Can I come? No? Come on, please? Okay, just like some like drunk trying to get into a bar at 4 a.m. I felt a little silly, but whatever. I live in town. I can, it's a solid place to walk over and see the Clippers, see the Nets lose 2 games in a row. I mean, not to be bitter, but I don't like the Brooklyn Nets, and it's pretty cool that Toronto blew them out 2 games in a row. Not that they blew them out They had Toronto sort of an ugly win last night, but Tuesday they blew them out of the house. That was great. Because when I got there, it was like floods of people were leaving the Barclays Center. Everyone was just like, "Gosh, this team sucks. This team sucks without Kai and KD." And I don't want to be, bitter or anything. I do. Obviously, I'm upset for everything that's happened with Ben Simmons. It's been a frustrating situation, but I'm sad to hear that like he's hurt and that he is not ready to be an NBA player right now. That's just so confusing. Like, I kind of can't wrap my head around, you gotta, like, there were so many people this year where Shoot, all of our players have COVID. Greg Monroe, what are you up to? You've been retired for 3 years. And Greg Monroe was like, Ben, I'll see you in a second. And like, he was there that night. He put up 15 and 10. Like, it's on the TNT broadcast last night, Jamal Crawford was like, I will come to any team and put up 10 and 10. Like, whatever you need, fill out your order, I'll be there. It was pretty cool, but I don't think so, but wouldn't want him the Sixers, but I love the energy. I think that was fantastic, but I just feel for Ben. I hope he's okay. I hope his strength and his energy is all there. But that was sad at that thing that came out where the photographers at the Nets Center was like, he told us he couldn't dunk right now. Like, he's not ready yet, and he's not conditioned enough to play 5-on-5. It's confusing, right? It's just weird, unless this is all just a huge smoke and mirrors things to just avoid playing the Sixers, which like he was going to anyway, but all this extra stuff seems concerning. Like, I get not wanting to see the Sixers at all. I wouldn't wanna. Oh my God, if I was in that situation, no, I would avoid the Sixers till forever, as long as I possibly could. That's why he wanted to be on the West Coast. That's why he wanted to be on a Pacific team, because he was like, I'll see him twice a year, maybe, and I can skip those games. I can skip that one game a year I play at the Sixers home. Ben doesn't even have to come on the trip. He was so prepared to do that. And then he could face him, in Sacramento, but that didn't happen, and he was traded to a team where we'll see each other at least 5 times a year. That's unfortunate for Mr. Simmons, and I just feel bad. I just hope him well. I can't imagine him, if this is all true, I can't imagine him doing Ben Simmons stuff in the playoffs. Like, there's no way he's going to be a ball handler. He's gonna be a Bruce Brown guy. That's what I was just listening to. It's like he's gonna have to just be a role player if he's gonna want to do it, which I can't imagine he feels good about that, because apparently half of his reasoning for wanting to leave the Sixers was he didn't like not being the guy. He was, frustrated. Joel was too. You can't put all that on Ben, but the two of them were jealous of each other. They were, and they admitted that to each other and to other people. But if Ben was jealous of Joel, he's on a team with KD and Kyrie and so many other people, there's a lot of attention on that team. Seth Curry, the god, you're gonna be the 5th option compared to Seth, who's probably the 3rd, and definitely when Kyrie and KD aren't playing is their star player currently. I think that's correct. I think the best player on the Brooklyn Nets right now is Seth Curry. That's amazing. Good for Seth. I love Seth. And get his. I hope Seth just gets his. Just get 30 a night. Do whatever. 30 a night and lose. Do you, Seth. I love you. That's all the Tuesday games. I didn't really watch too many. Oh, except for I'll talk about Chicago real quick because I like Chicago. Man, my friend said it best when I was texting him about it, because I didn't see that game and I haven't seen the highlights yet, but he was telling me about it, and he was just like, they just can't, and it's true, they can't win when they need to, and they can't win convincingly. They can't. I don't think I've seen a Bulls game this season against a good team, against a contending team, where they have won convincingly. They've won a lot of games against a lot of really great teams, but they win with DeMar DeRozan 40-point games, and he gets the buzzer beater. Like, that's kind of how they've been winning. It's like, okay, it's all tied up, 112, and then DeMar takes a mid-range and they win. And it's so exciting, and it's so cool to watch. And he should get some MVP recognition. But I think it also begs to believe that a lot of these teams that he's been beating by 1 point, can they beat these teams convincingly? Can they be this team? And right now, no. Especially against the Heat. And do they play again tonight? Look on the schedule. They do, I believe. Yes, they do. I actually don't know if they do. I just said yes, they do, and I didn't see anything that said they don't. They don't. I literally looked at a list of all the games who was playing tonight, and I went, yes, they do. And no, they are not. That's amazing. Wow, the Sixers are going to be on ESPN tonight. They're just making every single game national. That's cool. That's cool. Okay, Bulls play against the Hawks. Hopefully they can beat the Hawks, because the Hawks have been doo-doo. Which is an oversimplification, but they kind of have been. And so excited for the game tonight. And now let me backtrack sorry. Let me finish. So after going to the Barclays Center on Monday night, I was walking home, and I got home just in time for the second half of a pretty cool game between Ja Morant and the San Antonio Spurs. Mr. Morant put up 50 points, and it was the coolest thing to see. So I'm so glad. So long story short, after that dumb Barclay tangent I went on, I got to see one of the coolest games of the season where Ja Morant put up 50. He's a Superman. And that team is so much fun. They're so young and excited. And they're all gosh, that's such a fun team. What a cool team. I can't, and then, oh my, it was beautiful. Allen Iverson puts a Ja Morant jersey on his MVP trophy and says, you got next. Or sooner or later. That's what he said. Sooner or later. Beautiful. Just beautiful. Beautiful game, beautiful night, and then he's holding his daughter at the. I love Ja Morant, and when I started buying jerseys, when I started my jersey addiction during lockdown of the pandemic, I got very into my own type of fashion. I got very into retail therapy during lockdown, and I bought a lot of shoes and I bought jerseys. And I believe the second jersey I bought after a Sixers, after an Allen Iverson jersey I found on Poshmark or something, I bought a Ja Morant jersey. Ja Morant's the third jersey I've ever owned, because I just, that rookie year, I was just like, man, this guy's cool. He's kind of like Allen Iverson a little bit, and I just saw it. I was just like, wow, he's just cool, and he's that guy. And he was I think that was the year when he almost dunked on Kevin Love. Oh my god. And that was the coolest part of the 50-point game, was when he was like, yeah, I've had a lot of almost. I didn't have any almost tonight. Look at that. He's been calling out Pirtle. I dunked on him so, no more, Ja almost got this dunk, and it was the coolest dunk of the year. Now, Ja has the coolest dunk of the year. Ungodly, unbelievable performance. He's just so, or very godly, however you want to look at it. Just the both. He is John. That's all. I didn't write down any stats. I didn't write down anything else from that game except for Ja Morant is that guy. He is that guy. Man, he's so good. And let me wrap it up with some Sixers talk. Even though I've been talking Sixers throughout. On Sunday, backtracking even more. Sunday, great group of games, but I don't think I watched all of them. I watched some of them because I was pretty focused on going to see the 76ers live at Madison Square Garden. Holy cannoli. An exciting game. Holy wow. The Garden is amazing. Highly recommend it for anyone who can't go. As I was ranting about earlier, I think the prices are too high. I justified it to myself that it was worth it to see this duo perform like this, and the crowd couldn't have been better. This is ideal. I love being at the center. I love being at the Wells Fargo Center, but obviously it's a dominant Sixers crowd. It's one of the more exciting home game experiences ever. But this was a very cool time because New York is so close to Philly. It was practically 50-50. It was almost like a soccer match where it was Knicks fans on one side, Sixers fans on the other, and huge roars of boos, and then And then even bigger roars of MVP for Joel, and it was amazing. And then, there was just so, like, I was so excited just to see. I've never seen the Sixers again. The floor is so spaced out. Like, Joel and James are really figuring out, just that game alone was them figuring out, like, oh, this is how we can do a two-man game. And it was better than the game against the Wolves. And you can only imagine every day will just get a little bit better, and they'll just know each other a little bit more, and they'll adjust to being there for each other. Like Joel, Joel's not a lob threat. I think Joel will now be kind of a lob threat. Not that he will go for a lob every single time, but I think Joel and James probably had a little conversation of like, hey, it'd be, James is like, I'm really good at throwing lobs, and if you're open and that's the only thing I can do, you should do that. And then he's probably like, yeah, that's a great idea. Like, it wasn't like the Timberwolves game where he caught it and then, I had to go back down and then went back up. Caught it, slammed it down, and I jumped up and screamed, and my brother was like, you are being a lot right now. But man, I was excited. That was such a cool game. Gosh, energy. James, Joel, Maxey, that's a 3. I mean, yeah, Maxey really has figured out how to be off ball and effective and such, he's finding his lanes. Matisse is getting a lot better. I think Matisse is really good at finding his lanes now. I think he's just like, Matisse is so good at cutting. And hey, that's a lob threat. If Harden wants a lob threat, I think Matisse loves getting up there and catching. He always caught Ben stuff, and Harden I think could do a really good job at utilizing Matisse like that. And Matisse is doing his own thing. He's cutting for him. I think he's figuring out how to make more of an impact on offense, which is so important for Matisse. I love him so much, but that is the one frustrating thing about his game, is that he can't hit 3, or he just won't sometimes. He is very hesitant about taking an open 3 because he's not as efficient, but he's just got to practice. And I don't mind. It's the Tobias thing. I don't mind if he takes, if he goes 1 for 9, just take him. He'll get better. Hopefully this offseason he gets better, but like, he's just so good on defense. It's now like, put defense on hold in his conditioning. I don't know how. I imagine he's doing his best. Obviously, I don't mean to be like, just work on shooting and then you'll be good on shooting. I imagine he's trying his best, and I love him. He's figuring it out. That next game I thought was he was finding his spots and cutting and doing a really good job at that. And gosh, they look like a great team. DeAndre Jordan is apparently in conversations of coming to Philadelphia. Everyone has mixed feelings about that. I think they shouldn't. I don't see why. He's a little too expensive right now. It's not my money. I honestly don't care about all that money stuff. But I know the Sixers' money is all sorts of effed up. It's so, I don't even know how they're dealing with all that. But, DeAndre Jordan, I think will be cool. I'm just a fan of DeAndre Jordan from Lob City. And, I think that dunk on Brandon Knight kind of gives you a free pass for life. I think some of his dunks have really, really been special. And then, I don't know. I don't think he'd be the worst guy as a lob threat against Harden. And, he's some size, get some boards. Let's never let him pass, especially a full-length court pass like he did on the Lakers, which was so funny that it was just like he did that pass, and then 5 hours later, DeAndre Jordan has been cut from the team. Like, it seemed very unceremonious. They didn't even pretend. They didn't even wait a game to be like, oh, we got cut for other reasons. Nope. It was basically like that performance got him cut. So obviously, I think a lot of Sixers fans have a lot of sour taste in their mouth after what he's been doing. What he's been doing with the Lakers, and he really has not been that effective on Brooklyn. But he's size. He's something. He's not the worst. He's really not the worst, but he's a backup big. It's the most replaceable position in basketball. So I feel like if it's a hassle, they should not try to get him. But if it's one more guy, it's one more guy. I don't know. He's fine. I love Paul Reed, but I'd rather have a DeAndre Jordan, I guess, as my backup center. It's pretty good. I wish they cut Dwight Howard. I wish we got Dwight Howard back as a backup. And I'll put this out there because I forgot who I was talking to about this, but Andre Drummond, he's only on a year deal. He signed a pretty quick, tiny 1-year deal with the Sixers, and he's gonna be a free agent next year. So theoretically, what if Andre Drummond just straight up comes back to the Sixers next year? That's kind of in the cards. Is like if Andre Drummond's like, dang, I got traded. Okay, hey guys, do you want to give me the same contract or a similar contract, and I'll just do the same thing I did last year, and then you guys just don't trade me? And they'll be like, yeah, that'd be cool. But he also, maybe he loves being the guy on, maybe he's maybe done being a backup. Though, is he a backup for the Nets? I know he was big for them when they won that Bucks game. That was huge, but then they went on a 2-game losing streak. But I can't imagine why he would back up LaMarcus Aldridge. It should be him, then LaMarcus coming off the bench, but could be backing them up. I don't know. We'll see how the year goes and whatever Drummond wants to do. But putting that out there, I'd love to have Drummond as a backup again. I think he's the best backup center in the league. But also, I think he's restricting himself because I think he still could do something with a team. I think him on what's a good team? Who could use him? Charlotte. He'd be really good on Charlotte. Catching some lobs from LaMelo. I think he could be a starter on a team like that, and do some real damage, and be a good guy. He could be on Portland. Portland wanted to give him a big contract. That'd be pretty good. Get Nurkic out of there. He'd be pretty good. I don't know. He's not my favorite, but just putting that out there. Want him back. And I'll end with tonight. The Sixers are playing again. They're playing the Knicks at home for the very first time. Allen Iverson had one of his classic Instagram posts where he's like, "Man, I love the NBA today. Man, all these players are so good." I love Allen Iverson. I love that he pays attention and loves basketball still, and isn't one of those he's not like Charles Oakley going like, "No way Giannis could play back in the day. There's no way in hell Giannis would be a bench player in the 90s. No, he would not." Oh, that's so funny. I won't give that too much thought because obviously, hey, if I'm selling a book, I'm saying some crazy stuff. Just note this right now. Yeah, mark this. Whenever Drew Shad have a book coming out, I'm going to start saying some outrageous stuff. Allen Iverson could never win MasterChef. I'll say whatever. There's no way Christian Bale could ever fit in a leotard. Whatever. I'll say whatever outrageous kooky comment to sell a book. I get it, Chuck. You're trying to sell your book. Do you? I don't think anyone should take offense to that. He's getting people talking, and oh, dang it, I bought a book by accident. I was so mad with what Charles Oakley was saying. I accidentally went out and bought his book. It worked. Good for him. But so funny. I'll reiterate what I heard Isaiah Thomas say on NBA TV. God, I am a basketball junkie. Also, what a lame thing to say out loud. But Isaiah Thomas said on NBA TV, for a guy like that, sure, maybe Giannis isn't going out there and punching people in the face. But when you're a guy like Giannis, and you're a guy who has so much skill and has so much in their bag, and like Giannis, who is like so good in the paint and then has worked his way backwards and has become such a wonderful shooter, a better shooter, not a wonderful shooter, but so much. He's definitely a threat behind the 3-point line. You can't leave him open ever. He's just that guy. Where Isaiah Thomas was saying, like, if someone punches you, that kind of lets you know, like, oh, that's all you can do. I thought that was cool. It was just like and a good mindset, and I think something everyone should carry with you. Like that's something good of like, if someone hurts you like that. That is all they can do. And that shouldn't take away from what you can do. Just because someone punches you in the face doesn't mean, that doesn't take away anything what you are. It doesn't take away your skill, your talent, your drive, the things you can do. Because it honestly just shows you like, wow, look how weak this person is. that they have to do that. The only thing they can do to defend me, to get on me, is punching me. That's it. That's all you can do. I can kick your butt every day of the fucking week. Like, you know. So getting emotional with IT. Cool. That's about all I gotta say. Looking at the time code, 40 minutes went by. I said this will be a short one, and I'll end it here. Thanks for listening to the Stepover. I'm Drew Scheid, and I love you all so much. Have a fantastic day. 10-9-8 76ers.